Welcome to another episode of Speak Up. I'm your host, Ryan, and today we've got a really exciting and practical topic for you. We're going to dive into some of the most essential life-changing skills that can seriously boost your career. Whether you're just starting out, trying to get ahead, or even looking to make a career shift, mastering these skills can help you stand out and really succeed at work. These aren't just tips you'll hear and forget. We're going to keep it simple and actionable, so you can start practicing these skills immediately. We'll be focusing on 5 specific areas: time management, effective communication, adaptability, problem solving, and emotional intelligence. Sound interesting? Well, stay tuned because we've got a lot to cover and a ton of practical advice to help you grow.
Exactly, Ryan. These skills are truly life-changing, and the best part is that anyone can learn them, no matter where you are in your career or what job you do. We all face daily challenges at work, whether it's juggling multiple tasks, handling unexpected changes, or just working better with others. By improving in these key areas, you'll find that things start to get easier and more manageable. We'll be breaking down each skill so it's easy to understand, and we'll give you real-life examples and tips on how you can start building these abilities right now. If you've ever felt like you're struggling to keep up with deadlines, or that you're not communicating as effectively as you'd like, this episode is going to be super helpful for you.
That's right, Julia. We're going to make sure everything we talk about today is practical and useful, so you don't just listen and forget. You can actually take these tips and start applying them today. Think of these as building blocks for your career. By the end of this episode, we want you to feel confident that you've got the tools you need to not only survive, but thrive in the workplace. Whether it's learning how to manage your time better or becoming more adaptable when things don't go as planned, these skills are all about making your work life easier and more successful. So stick with us, and let's get started on mastering these life-changing career skills.
And don't worry if some of these skills seem a bit overwhelming at first. We're going to break everything down into simple steps that you can start practicing today. No complicated jargon, no big fancy words. Just straightforward advice you can use in your daily life. Plus, we'll be sharing some personal tips and experiences along the way, so you can see how these skills play out in real-life situations. So, whether you're driving, on your lunch break, or just relaxing at home, stay tuned, and we promise you'll leave this episode feeling more prepared to take on whatever work throws your way. Let's jump in.
All right, so let's kick things off by talking about what exactly we mean when we say life-changing skills. It might sound like a big term, but really, these are skills that, when you develop them, have a huge impact, not just on your job, but also on your overall quality of life. Think about it. When you manage your time better, communicate clearly, or adapt quickly to changes, everything just feels smoother, right? These skills help you stay on top of your work, reduce stress, and even improve your relationships with colleagues. It's not just about being better at your job, it's about becoming more efficient, more confident, and more prepared to handle challenges, whether you're at work or even in your personal life. And the best part? These skills are totally learnable. No matter where you are in your career, you can pick them up and start using them right away to see real results.
Exactly, Ryan. And the reason we're calling them life-changing is because they really can transform how you approach your day-to-day activities. When we talk about skills like time management or adaptability, we're talking about things that give you control over your work rather than letting work control you. Imagine walking into a busy day already knowing how to prioritize your tasks or handle unexpected problems without feeling overwhelmed. That's the kind of shift we're aiming for. These aren't just nice-to-haves. They're crucial tools that can help you stay productive, reduce stress, and even open up new opportunities. For example, mastering communication can mean the difference between being misunderstood in meetings or really making your ideas stand out. So, when we say these are life-changing, it's because they really give you that edge in both your career and personal growth.
Yeah, and what's great is that these skills aren't just for one specific type of job. Whether you're working in an office, running your own business, or even just starting out in a new role, these are the core abilities that everyone needs. Let's be honest. Things like managing your time well or knowing how to solve problems efficiently aren't things that come naturally to everyone. But With a little practice, you can absolutely master them. And once you do, the benefits are huge. You'll notice that you can handle deadlines better, communicate more effectively with your team, and tackle any challenges that come your way. Plus, these skills help build your confidence, and that's something that will shine through in everything you do. So think of these as the foundation for a successful career. And the best part is, they're all skills you can start working on today.
Right. And another thing to remember is that these skills don't just make your work life easier. They help you grow as a person. For example, emotional intelligence, which we'll dive into later, is all about understanding your own emotions and those of others. This isn't just useful in a professional setting. It's a game changer for personal relationships too. It helps you connect better with people, manage conflicts, and create stronger, more meaningful interactions. So, when we say life-changing, we mean it in every sense. These skills will not only make you a better employee or manager, they'll make you a more well-rounded individual, someone who can handle stress, manage time, and connect with others in a meaningful way. And don't worry, we're going to give you practical steps for each skill, so you know exactly how to start building them.
All right, now that we've covered what we mean by life-changing skills, let's get into the real meat of today's episode. The 5 key skills that we believe are essential for career success. These skills are time management, effective communication, adaptability, problem-solving, and emotional intelligence. Each one of these can have a massive impact on your day-to-day work and can really set you apart. We'll explain what each one is, and of course, we're going to give you some practical tips on how you can start improving them right away. So let's start with time management. I think we all know the feeling of having too much to do and not enough time, right? It's overwhelming. But if you learn how to manage your time better, you'll not only get more done, but you'll also feel more in control of your day. One tip I like to use is the top 3 rule. At the start of each day, I list the top 3 things I absolutely need to get done, and I focus on those first. It helps keep me on track and make sure I'm tackling the most important tasks, not just the easy ones.
That's a great tip, Ryan. And it's true. Time management is a game changer. One thing I do is use time blocking. I'll dedicate specific chunks of time to different tasks throughout the day, so I'm not jumping back and forth between things. For example, I'll block out 9 to 10 a.m. for emails, then 10:30 to 12 for working on a project. It helps me stay focused because I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing at any given time. Plus, it's a good way to avoid distractions. If you know you've got a block of time dedicated to a task, you're less likely to get sidetracked by things like social media or random emails. And remember, the goal isn't to be busy all the time. It's about being productive and making the most of your work hours.
Exactly, Julia. Now, moving on to our second skill, communication. This is one that can really make or break your career, and it's something that's useful no matter what kind of job you're in. Good communication is all about being clear and concise with your ideas, but also about listening actively to others. It's not just about what you say, but how well you can understand what someone else is trying to tell you. One way to improve your communication is by practicing active listening. Instead of just waiting for your turn to speak, really focus on what the other person is saying. Ask questions to clarify their points and show that you're engaged in the conversation. This not only helps build better working relationships, but it also ensures that you're not missing important information because you were too busy thinking about your response.
Yes, active listening is a big one. And when it comes to speaking clearly, another helpful tip is to practice summarizing what you're trying to say in just a few sentences before you even start speaking. It forces you to get straight to the point and helps avoid confusion. Also, tone is really important. How you say something can often be just as important as what you're saying. You want to sound confident, but also approachable. And if you're not sure if your message is coming across clearly, don't hesitate to ask for feedback. It can be as simple as asking, "Does that make sense?" Or, "Do you need any more details?" That opens up the conversation and shows that you're focused on clarity.
Great point. Now, let's talk about adaptability. This is the skill that helps you thrive in an ever-changing work environment. We all know how quickly things can shift at work. Maybe a project gets a new deadline, or you're suddenly asked to take on new responsibilities. If you can roll with those changes instead of resisting them, you'll become a valuable asset to your team. One simple way to improve adaptability is by stepping out of your comfort zone on purpose. Try volunteering for a task you've never done before, or ask to learn a new tool or system at work. The more you expose yourself to new challenges, the more comfortable you'll get with change.
That's such good advice. And on top of that, when you embrace change, it also shows your boss and your coworkers that you're flexible and willing to grow. It's all about mindset. Rather than seeing change as a problem, try to see it as an opportunity to learn something new. You can even make it a habit to check in with yourself when something unexpected happens. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this challenge help me grow? When you start thinking that way, you'll notice that you're not as stressed when things don't go as planned. You'll be more solution-focused, which brings us to our next skill, problem solving.
Yes, problem solving is huge. It's about not just identifying issues, but also coming up with effective solutions. And it's a skill that can really make you stand out at work. If you can quickly assess a situation and think of ways to fix it, you become the go-to person when challenges arise. One practical tip for problem solving is to always break the problem down into smaller parts. Sometimes a problem can feel overwhelming if you look at it as one big issue, but when you split it up into smaller, more manageable pieces, it becomes easier to tackle. Start by asking, what exactly is the problem? Then brainstorm possible solutions and take action on the best one. The key is to stay proactive instead of getting stuck in the problem itself.
That's a great approach. I also find that collaboration is an important part of problem solving. Don't hesitate to ask for input from others. Sometimes a fresh set of eyes can offer a solution you hadn't considered. And remember, not every solution is going to work perfectly the first time. It's okay to try something, evaluate the results, and then pivot if needed. Being flexible in how you solve problems is just as important as the solution itself. And finally, let's talk about emotional intelligence. This one is all about understanding your own emotions and the emotions of others. It's key for building strong relationships at work and creating a positive, productive environment.
Exactly. Emotional intelligence can help you navigate difficult conversations, manage stress, and understand what your coworkers are going through. A good way to start improving this skill is by practicing empathy. When someone's frustrated or upset, try to put yourself in their shoes and understand where they're coming from. And for yourself, being aware of your own emotional triggers is super important. If you know what tends to set you off, you can prepare for those situations and handle them better. It's all about creating a balance between your emotions and your reactions, which can make a huge difference in how you communicate and work with others.
Yes, and the more emotionally intelligent you are, the better leader or team member you become. People trust you more, feel more comfortable around you, and you're better at handling conflicts. A great exercise is to reflect on how you react in tough situations. Ask yourself, did I keep calm? Did I listen to the other person? What can I improve next time? Emotional intelligence is definitely one of those skills that can take you far, not just in your career, but in all areas of life.
So now that we've covered the 5 key skills, time management, communication, adaptability, problem solving, and emotional intelligence, let's talk about how you can actually start building these skills. It's one thing to know about them, but how do you put them into practice? The good news is that these aren't skills you have to master overnight. It's all about making small, consistent efforts every day. For example, with time management, one simple habit you can start right away is using the Pomodoro technique. It's where you work for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, and repeat. It sounds simple, but it really helps you stay focused and prevents burnout. Plus, having those short breaks makes it easier to stay productive throughout the day without feeling exhausted. It's a good way to manage your energy and your time.
Yes, I love the Pomodoro technique because it breaks things down into manageable chunks. And speaking of manageable, Communication is another area where small changes can make a big impact. One easy way to improve is to practice summarizing key points after a conversation. For example, if you're in a meeting, you can say something like, "Just to make sure we're on the same page, here's what I understood." This not only shows that you're listening, but it also ensures there are no misunderstandings. Clarity is key, and this kind of follow-up makes a big difference. It's a simple habit that helps you stay on track and shows your team that you're engaged and paying attention. And the best part is, it makes you feel more confident because you know you've got the details right.
That's such a good point, Julia. Clarifying conversations is a great habit to build. Now let's talk about adaptability. This skill is all about being open to new experiences and learning how to adjust when things don't go as planned. A practical way to work on adaptability is to push yourself to learn something new every week, whether it's at work or even in your personal life. Maybe it's a new tool or a different method for tackling tasks. Or even better, you could volunteer to take on a project that's a little outside your usual comfort zone. When you make it a habit to try new things regularly, adapting to change becomes easier because you're constantly putting yourself in situations that require flexibility. It's all about training your brain to handle new challenges without getting overwhelmed.
Exactly. It's like building a muscle. The more you practice being adaptable, the easier it becomes. And speaking of practice, let's talk about problem solving. A good way to sharpen your problem-solving skills is to keep a problem-solving journal. It sounds a little unusual, but it really works. Every time you come across a challenge, write it down. What the problem was, how you approached it, and what the outcome was. This helps you reflect on your decision-making process, and over time, you'll notice patterns in how you solve problems. Plus, when you're faced with a similar issue later, you can look back and see what worked and what didn't. It's like having your own personal playbook for problem solving.
I like that idea a lot. A problem-solving journal can really help you track your progress and build on your experiences. Now, moving on to emotional intelligence, this one is all about being more aware of your own emotions and those of others. One simple way to start building emotional intelligence is to reflect on how you handle stress or difficult conversations. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to think about a situation where emotions played a role, maybe a disagreement with a coworker or a tough deadline. Ask yourself, how did I feel? How did I react? What could I have done differently? By reflecting regularly, you become more aware of your emotional triggers and how you manage them. This awareness can help you stay calm and more in control during stressful situations, which is key for both personal and professional growth.
Yes, reflection is so important for emotional intelligence. And another tip is to start practicing empathy in your daily interactions. When someone is upset or frustrated, instead of reacting immediately, take a moment to put yourself in their shoes. Ask yourself, what might they be going through? How can I support them? Just taking that pause can change how you approach conversations and help you build stronger connections with your team. It also makes you a better leader, because people feel heard and understood when you show empathy. Emotional intelligence is all about creating a positive environment where people can work together more effectively. It's not something that happens overnight, but small steps like these can lead to big changes over time.
Absolutely. And what's important to remember with all of these skills, whether it's time management, communication, adaptability, problem solving, or emotional intelligence, is that the key is consistency. None of these changes need to be huge, but if you make small, steady improvements, you'll see results. For example, just spending 10 minutes at the end of each day organizing your tasks for the next day can help you manage your time better. Or practicing active listening in every meeting can improve your communication bit by bit. It's about making these skills part of your routine so they become second nature. The more you practice, the more they'll shape your daily life and career.
Exactly. It's all about making small, practical changes that add up over time. These are skills you can work on every day, and they'll make a huge difference, not just in your job, but in how you handle life's challenges. So, start small. Whether it's trying the Pomodoro technique for time management or simply being more aware of how you react in stressful situations. The key is to get started, and the more you practice, the more confident you'll become. And remember, you don't have to get it perfect right away. Just keep improving, little by little.
Now that we've laid out the 5 key skills and how to build them, let's bring everything together with a real-life example. Imagine you're part of a team working on a big project at your job. Everything's going smoothly, and then suddenly, boom, the deadline gets moved up by a full week. Now, you and your team are scrambling to figure out how to get everything done in time. This is a situation where each of the skills we've talked about can really shine. Let's break it down. First, with time management, you'd need to reprioritize tasks immediately. The top 3 things you plan to do today might need to change, and you'll need to block out time for the most urgent tasks. It's all about staying organized, not panicking, and focusing on what really needs to get done.
Exactly. And this is where communication comes in too. When that deadline changes, you're going to need to communicate with your team, your boss, and maybe even clients to make sure everyone's on the same page. Clear and concise communication is crucial here. You don't want misunderstandings about who's doing what or how much time is left. You might need to send out an email to your team or schedule a quick meeting to reassign tasks and update everyone. But here's the thing. Good communication in this situation isn't just about talking. It's also about listening. Maybe someone on your team has a great idea for speeding up the process, but if you're not actively listening, you might miss it. This is why being both clear and attentive is so important.
Absolutely. And when that deadline changes, adaptability kicks in big time. Plans are out the window, and you have to adjust quickly. If you're used to being flexible and open to change, you'll handle this situation much better than if you resist or feel overwhelmed by the new timeline. In this case, being adaptable means taking a step back, reassessing your priorities, and being open to doing things a little differently. Maybe that means learning a new tool to speed up the process or delegating tasks that weren't originally yours. The key is to stay calm and not let the pressure throw you off. Remember, change is inevitable in the workplace, and the faster you can adapt, the better you'll perform.
Right. And being adaptable also means being resourceful. In a situation like this, you might need to think outside the box to find solutions. For instance, if the timeline is tight, you could look for ways to automate certain parts of the process or streamline communication to avoid unnecessary meetings. That leads us directly into problem solving. Once the deadline is moved up, you and your team need to figure out how to adjust your workflow. This is where breaking the problem down into smaller parts really helps. Instead of focusing on the overwhelming idea of finishing the project in less time, you tackle each section one by one. What's the most time-consuming part? Can anything be skipped or simplified? By solving each small problem, you're making the big one more manageable.
Exactly. Problem solving is all about being proactive and not letting a challenge stop you in your tracks. In this case, you'd also need to collaborate with your team to come up with the best solutions. Maybe one person is stuck on a particular part of the project, but if you all brainstorm together, you might find a quicker way to get it done. And let's not forget about emotional intelligence in a high-pressure situation like this. When deadlines shift suddenly, it's easy for stress levels to rise. You might feel anxious or frustrated, and so might your teammates. Emotional intelligence is all about recognizing those feelings and managing them. Instead of snapping at a coworker because you're stressed, you take a deep breath, acknowledge how you're feeling, and approach the situation calmly.
Yes, emotional intelligence really plays a huge role here. If you're able to stay calm and empathetic when others are stressed, it can completely change the atmosphere. Imagine your whole team is feeling the pressure, but instead of adding to the chaos, you're the one who stays calm and supportive. You recognize that your colleague is overwhelmed, so instead of getting frustrated with them, you ask how you can help or suggest taking a short break to clear their head. That kind of emotional awareness helps the whole team function better, and it builds trust among your coworkers. And honestly, it's a great leadership quality. People want to work with someone who can stay cool under pressure and help others do the same.
Exactly. And when you combine all these skills, time management, communication, adaptability, problem-solving, and emotional intelligence, you're setting yourself up for success, even in stressful situations like a deadline shift. Each of these skills supports the others. Managing your time well means you can adjust to changes more easily. Clear communication ensures that everyone knows what's going on, and emotional intelligence helps keep the team working together smoothly, even when stress levels are high. This is why these skills are life-changing. They help you handle challenges with confidence and create opportunities for growth, no matter what gets thrown at you.
That's such a good summary, Ryan. And the beauty of these skills is that they're interconnected. It's not just about mastering one. It's about using all of them together to become a more effective, resilient, and confident professional. You might not get it perfect every time, and that's okay. The important thing is that you keep practicing and improving. Real-life situations like the one we just described are where you can really see these skills in action. And when you do, you'll notice the difference in how much more efficiently you work and how much less stressful these challenges feel.
All right, so let's wrap up everything we've covered today. We've talked about 5 life-changing skills that can seriously improve your career: time management, effective communication, adaptability, problem-solving, and emotional intelligence. These aren't just nice-to-have skills. They're essential if you want to handle everyday challenges and stand out at work. And the great thing is, as we've seen through our example, these skills don't work in isolation. They complement each other. When you manage your time well, communicate clearly, stay adaptable to change, solve problems effectively, and keep your emotions in check, you become a lot more resilient. That's why these skills are so powerful. They're practical, and they help you in almost every work situation you'll come across.
Exactly, Ryan. And the best part is, these are all skills that anyone can develop. You don't need any special talent or qualifications to get better at time management or problem solving. It's all about being consistent and intentional in how you practice these skills. Start small, whether it's using time blocking to manage your day better or practicing active listening in your meetings. The more you practice, the more natural these skills will become, and soon you'll notice the difference. You'll feel more confident at work, you'll handle stress better, and you'll find that you're able to connect with your colleagues more easily. It's about making small, meaningful improvements every day. So don't feel overwhelmed. Just pick one area to focus on and start there.
Exactly. And remember, the key here is not perfection, it's progress. You don't need to master these skills all at once. Start by incorporating just 1 or 2 into your daily routine and see how it goes. Maybe you try the Pomodoro technique to manage your time or reflect on how you handled a stressful situation at the end of each day to build your emotional intelligence. Little by little, you'll start to see real improvement, and before you know it, these skills will feel like second nature. And when you hit challenges like that last-minute deadline change we talked about, you'll be prepared to handle them with confidence and clarity. That's what these life-changing skills are all about. Helping you not just survive at work, but thrive.
Absolutely. These skills will help you deal with unexpected challenges, make better decisions, and communicate more effectively in your career. But beyond that, they're also going to improve how you interact with people, manage stress, and handle your personal life too. So, whether you're just starting out in your career or you've been working for years, it's never too late to start developing these abilities. Every bit of progress you make will help you grow, both professionally and personally. And remember, it's okay to make mistakes along the way. That's part of the learning process. The important thing is that you're actively working on improving. You've got this.
Well said, Julia. So, to all our listeners, thanks for joining us on this episode of Speak Up. We hope you found these tips helpful and that you're inspired to start practicing these life-changing skills. Remember, growth takes time, but with consistent effort, you'll see real results. If you liked this episode, make sure to subscribe and share it with your friends or coworkers who might benefit from these insights. We'd love to hear from you too. So, if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, reach out to us.
Yes, we're always here to help you grow and improve, so don't hesitate to get in touch. And keep practicing these skills. You'll be amazed at how much they can improve your career and overall quality of life. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time for more tips and strategies on Speak Up. Take care and keep learning.
We'll be back with more practical advice, so keep practicing these life-changing skills. And remember, you're in control of your growth.